Once upon a time, in a time where the land was broad and spacious, and the land was as wide and as broad as the sea, and as the numbers of the sand upon the seashore. This is a land of once upon a time, a land before time. And in this time, there was a man. And this man was not just any man, but he was a man who traveled. And he was a sojourner, and he was a wayfarer, and he traveled upon the road, upon the good road. He traveled upon the good road. And this man walked, and he walked for days, and he began to walk. And all of a sudden, he came upon a sight. And what was the sight? It was a great fire. And this was a fire that rose up. It shot up, this fire, and it burned, and it was hot. And this man sat around this fire to warm himself. And when he sat around this fire, he became warm inside of himself. And there was a holy zeal that began to burn within his heart. And this holy zeal burnt and burnt and burnt. And the art of prayer began to burn within him. And he began to pray for the one passion, the one saving compassion, the great holy zeal, the great holy consummation, the great holy union. And he burned with holy consummation, this man. And out of this fire, next to the fire, something was given to him. And lying next to the fire was a staff. And so the man looked upon this staff, and he took the staff, and he began to journey on. And he journeyed with this staff in hand, and he walked and he walked and he walked, and he began to walk for days and days. And what did he come upon? He came upon a river, and this was a beautiful flowing river. It seemed to go on for days and days, and this river was like the water of life. It was like the water of peace. It was equanimity. It was serenity. It was stillness. It was the peace that surpasseth understanding. It flowed, and rivers began to flow within him. And inner stillness developed, and peace that flowed like a river developed inside of his heart, inside of his soul. And he was a man of deep emotion and deep tranquility and deep inner stillness. And what did he find? What did he find next to this river? He found a staff. And he took this staff, he threw off his old staff, and he took this staff, and he began to walk. And he walked and he walked, and he journeyed and he journeyed, and he traveled days and days and days, when all of a sudden he came to this mountain. And this mountain was a tall and grand mountain. And this mountain with it was like a great cathedral that went up past the clouds into the heavens. And he climbed this mountain. And with all of his might and with all of his strength and with all his endurance, he climbed this mountain. And he got to the top of this mountain. And when he stood on the top, he could see everything. He had a bird's eye view, like the great golden eagle, like the great phoenix. He could see the entire land. He could see the entire landscape. He could see cities and villages and lakes and valleys and hills. And he looked over and over across lands, across distances. And his great eye beheld, and his great eye could see standing upon this mountain. And what did he find next to him but a staff? It was a great staff. It was a staff that he found, and he picked up this staff. He dropped his old staff, and he picked up the staff, and he traveled down the mountain, and he traveled on, and he walked many miles. He walked much distance. And what did he find at last? He found home. He found a garden, and this garden was full of every kind of fruit tree, of every kind of plant. It was full of hills and mountains. It was full of brooks and valleys. It was full of rivers and pools of water. It was full of fire and light and suns and moon and stars, and the whole canopy surrounded him. And he began to lay down in this garden, and he laid in this garden. And he was right there under the shade of a tree. And he dreamed a dream that this garden, this place that he had rested in, this garden was now home. He would now call this place home. and he stayed there until dust became dust, and he was in his garden.